They say something can't come from nothing, right? And then, without even flinching, they turn around and say, well, God is eternal. He didn't come from anything. He just always was. Oh, so he gets a cosmic cheat code? Listen, if you're going to invent an invisible man in the sky, at least be consistent about the rules of existence. You don't get to shout, science can't explain this, and then paste a glittery God did it sticker over the unknowns like you're submitting it to Pinterest. Meanwhile, over in the real world, where we use evidence, logic, and occasionally brains, we're working with things like quantum fluctuations, zero-point energy, and multiverse models. Not because we know everything, but because we're actually looking for answers, not just repeating ancient bedtime stories. Now, I know what you're thinking, but science can't explain what came before the Big Bang. And you're right, we don't yet have all the answers. But here's the difference. Science doesn't pretend to know. Christians, on the other hand, they're handing out certainties like free Chick-fil-A coupons on Judgment Day. And get this, if we applied their logic consistently, I could argue that my dog is the creator of the universe because she's been in my living room longer than string theory. Where did the universe come from? I don't know, but there's dog hair everywhere, so... They think they found a cosmic loophole by saying God is uncreated. But according to their own logic, if nothing can come from nothing, then God had to come from something. Unless, of course, you're willing to admit your logic is garbage, which, let's be honest, would be the first honest confession since I accept Jesus as my personal savior. They treat science like it's some arrogant know-it-all, when in reality, science is the only one in the room saying, hey, maybe we don't know everything yet, but let's keep digging. Meanwhile, Christian apologetics is just a never-ending game of theological ad-libs. We don't understand X, so therefore Y must be God, because reasons, and don't ask questions or you'll go to hell. Seriously, it's like trying to win a debate with a magic 8-ball that only says, because God. And let's talk Big Bang, shall we? The redshift of galaxies? Yep, we observed that. Cosmic microwave background radiation? Predicted, found, measured. Formation of light elements like hydrogen and helium? Science nailed it like Noah building a boat with IKEA instructions. But the Christian response? Well, we weren't there, so how do you know? Oh, sweetie. By that logic, we can't know dinosaurs existed because no one alive today personally high-fived a T-Rex. Then they hit you with this gem. But science claims to know everything. No, science is literally a process for discovering what we don't know. You know who claims to know everything? People who think the 2,000-year-old book written by anonymous goat herders is an infallible cosmic instruction manual. Let me tell you what science doesn't do. It doesn't say God did it, then close the book. It doesn't take a mystery and say, let's pretend a bearded sky wizard did this and call it good. It doesn't say, let's not look any further, or we might learn something uncomfortable. The God of the Gaps argument is just intellectual laziness and holy wrapping paper. You don't get to call it knowledge just because you stapled God to the front of a question mark. We don't understand something? Cool. Let's explore it. You don't understand something? God did it. That's not an answer. That's a cosmic shrug and a choir roll. So here's the punchline to the whole ridiculous thing. If something can't come from nothing, and God came from nothing, then by your own logic, God doesn't exist. Boom! You just sawed off the theological branch you were sitting on, and I'm over here with popcorn watching it fall. Up next in part 2, we compare the evidence for God's existence to, wait for it, Santa Claus. And guess who comes out looking more real? This is Kim McPhail of Kim McPhail Podcast, back with you today for part 2 of this episode. And welcome back to the Rational Resistance Lounge, where belief goes to be lovingly disassembled with logic, sarcasm, and just a dash of secular sass. Today's episode is proudly brought to you by actual evidence, something Christianity still hasn't managed to produce since the Bronze Age. Let's talk about one of my all-time favorite comedy routines. Sorry, I meant Christian arguments. The big one. The one they deliver with trembling hands and wide-eyed certainty. We know God is real because Jesus died and rose from the dead. Now look, I don't want to be mean, but that is not evidence. That is a bedtime story that got way out of hand. That's like saying you can prove unicorns exist because you once dreamed about a horse with a party hat. Seriously, if Jesus rose from the dead is your slam dunk proof of God, I've got some North Pole real estate to sell you. Because the last time I checked, miracles are not evidence. They are plot devices used when the writers have painted themselves into a corner. And yes, I saw this exact argument recently in the comment section of an atheist video. A brave little Christian soul stepped in, clutching their Bible like it was a divine subpoena, and proudly declared, "We have evidence of God's existence because Jesus died and rose again." Oh, honey, that's not evidence. That's fan fiction. You can't just quote your own holy book as proof of your own holy book. That's like me writing in a journal that I bench pressed 600 pounds and then yelling, "See? It's written down." That's the proof. The Bible isn't a source, it's a claim. A very old, very heavily edited, mostly anonymous claim passed through centuries of theological telephone until it became gospel, literally. So let's have a little fun. Let's play a game of, if that's evidence, then so is this. I now declare with full conviction that Santa Claus exists. And my proof? The elves. That's right, they work tirelessly at the North Pole making toys for children around the world. It's written in books. It's depicted in movies. There are songs, cookies, parades. That's empirical cultural evidence, right? Don't believe me? Just because you've never seen an elf doesn't mean they don't exist. Maybe you're not pure of heart. Or you're not looking hard enough. Sound familiar? And let's not forget the physical sightings. Santa is literally everywhere during December. He shows up in malls, grocery stores, pet adoption centers, you name it. Children sit on his lap. You can see him. You can smell him. You can hear him say ho, 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 which is more words than Jesus ever said in your backyard. And then there's NORAD. Oh yes, a highly trained military organization tracks Santa's flight path every single year. We're talking satellites, radars, live updates. That's more surveillance than Jesus got at the resurrection, which, if we're being brutally honest, had exactly 0 eyewitnesses at the tomb. Nobody saw him walk out. There's more proof of Bigfoot than Jesus crawling out of that crypt. But wait, there's more. Let's look at ritual behavior. Millions of people leave out cookies and milk for Santa. And the next morning, the cookies are gone. The cookies are gone. That's physical evidence of interaction. Compared to that to Jesus changed my heart, or I felt his presence. And what about the global impact? Santa has songs, movies, parades, entire economic sectors dedicated to him. He generates billions of dollars a year. The Holy Spirit, meanwhile, can't even get an appearance on Dancing with the Stars. We've got reindeer, real, biological animals that exist. That's more than I can say for talking snakes and donkeys with divine speech privileges. Christians will say Jesus rode in on a donkey and expect applause. Santa rides with flying reindeer and still gets called fictional. And let's not forget this, Jim. You can't prove God doesn't exist. Right, and I can't prove Santa doesn't live in the North Pole either. Or that invisible pink unicorns aren't hiding behind Jupiter. The burden of proof isn't on those saying, "Nope, I see no evidence." It's on the person making the claim. You don't get to declare the sky full of angels and then demand I prove they're not there. If that's the case, I believe I'm an alien wizard with the power to turn Bibles into grilled cheese sandwiches. Prove I'm not. Go ahead, I'll wait. But seriously, Jesus rising from the dead as evidence of God's existence? That's like using an episode of SpongeBob to prove Atlantis is real. It's circular logic wrapped in hearsay, dipped in theological glitter, and served with a side of don't ask questions or you'll burn forever. And let's not forget the massive cherry on top. All of these resurrection claims, written decades later by anonymous men, most of whom never met Jesus, never saw anything firsthand, and lived in a time when people thought illnesses were caused by demons. But sure, let's take their word for it. We have more archaeological, photographic, and third-party verification of the WWE Royal Rumble than we do of Jesus' miraculous reappearance. And that, my friends, is not a good look. So the next time someone says, "We know God exists because Jesus rose from the dead," just smile and ask them if they've written their letter to Santa yet. Because by their logic, he's real too. He's in malls, he has reindeer, and let's be honest, he's got a way better public relations team. And unlike Jesus, Santa delivers. If this episode gave your brain a much-needed detox from holy nonsense, hit that like button so hard it leaves a cross-shaped dent. Subscribe for more brutal truth wrapped in sarcasm and topped with delicious reason. And drop a comment below. What's the wildest evidence for God you've ever heard? Bonus points if it involves burning bushes, boat-sized zoos, or snack-loving angels. Until next time, stay skeptical, stay loud, and for the love of reason, don't drink the holy water. Again, this is Kim McPhail, Kim McPhail Podcast, and I look forward to the next time we talk. Bye.